I ask for the truth on behalf of Gemma Searby concerning that which is significant in her life right now. And I ask this in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we just cut the deck. And where the deck splits is where it's thought to be at its most energetic or strongest point, isn't it? And we'll just I think what we'll do for this one, given that this is a special reading in a way, we're not going to do 3 cards as we normally do. We're going to do 7 cards, so we'll just bring the cards and place them just there. I think you can just see them there, can't you? And we're going to deal out 7 cards instead of 3. It's still a past, present, future, but just a bit more in depth than normal, isn't it? If you want a really detailed, in-depth thing, you use a Celtic spread, and that gives you what's happening now and where it all started and where it's all going to end and all that sort of thing. This sort of does a similar thing, but in the space that we've just got here, so you can see it. I thought the 7 was a good happy medium. Of course, why am I doing a 7 card sort of dropping off and going off on a bit of a tangent, I suppose, as normal? Well, in this case, I put out a request to see who could find me reading glasses, who could guess where they were. And somebody said in the office, and Gemma was the one who said in the office, on the office table, I think she said, or in the office drawer. That's what it was, in the office drawer. Anyway, it was actually in my office, in the sense of by the computer, by the joystick, where I put the other bloody glasses and I lost the other ones. But of course, you don't make the same mistake twice, do you? And with the joystick being all black, and it's in a dark sort of corner and all that sort of thing, it doesn't help, especially when you're visually impaired as well. So thanks for that, Gemma. But of course, for everybody else who was trying to help as well, I'll be doing some fortune card readings for them as well. And but we'll do some general ones instead of normally I only ask for you have to be specific when you make a request. The reason being really is usually you do a general reading for somebody or whatever, what's significant or whatever it is, and then they'll get back to you and say, that's not what I wanted to know about though, I wanted to really know about this. It's not so much them saying it was right, wrong or bit in the middle. It's just the fact that they'll try and get another reading out of you by trying to say, well, actually I wanted to know this. And that was pointing towards something else. And so if we try and be specific about what we want guidance on, then we can focus the reading on what we want guidance on instead. But this is sort of not so much guidance on anything, it's just trying to get a bit of insight on something and provide guidance with it for what's most significant. And like I say, I'll do that with the fortune cards as like a one-off. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, so to speak. It's the thought that counts, isn't it? So let's commence then with Gemma's reading there for you there, Gemma. What we're going to deal out, we deal out 7 cards. Instead of doing like the 3 cards though, we do still past, present, future, but we do 2 for the past, and instead of just being as normal, the recent, it's the distant and the recent, so we put distant and recent past there. And then we have 3 in the middle, which is the past, the present, and the present is the present event, which is what's going on now. The present obstacle. Now normally in a Celtic spread that's placed across as if overshadowing the situation. But in this case we just place it next to it, so that's present obstacle. And then of course the present outcome goes after that. So that's a bit like a past, present, future for the present, isn't it really? If you get what I mean. And then of course finally we have an immediate future influence and an overall outcome. So what I'll do, I'll just arrange those cards to the closest. I suppose you could put them all together, but I'll just like leave a little gap between those middle three there, and then we can start, can't we? So what we'll do then, we'll flip each card in turn, and we'll start with this card here. You can probably just about see it now, can't you? So we've got a nice row of cards here to deal with, haven't we? Got something to do. So the first card is the distant past. Now this is obviously could be like a foundation type card as well, couldn't it? In a way, sort of the foundation of the situation that you're in that's most significant to you. So let's just we'll flip that card nice and slowly, just out of respect for spirit and respect for the energy. And notice there you've got the devil, and the devil is often called the naughty card, but the devil is a major arcana card. Then in the tarot, as you know, there are two decks. There's the major arcana and the minor arcana. The first major arcana deck is made up of 22 cards, from 0 the Fool to 21 Judgment. Correction, 21 the World. It's great here, isn't it? Good here. And then, of course, the minor arcana goes through all your suits of your traditional playing cards, I suppose, with you know, with your hearts, diamonds, clubs, and whatever. And they are as you know, spades as fire. Clubs as fire, spades is air, and then of course hearts is cups or water, and then diamonds is earth, isn't it? It's the same thing, but they take out the 4 cavaliers or the 4 knights, and then you're left with your 52 cards, aren't you? So you got the 56 minor, and of course your 56, 22 there, you got the 78 deck of the tarot. When I started reading the tarot, I just started on the major arcana cards, and I do now and again just do a major arcana reading, and well, I do enjoy doing it. I do miss it. I might start doing it again actually. For a few folks there, we might just try it. I did it once or twice on here, so yeah. So back to this anyway, Gemma, back to where we are, where we were here. We were just in the distant past here with the devil, and because it's a major arcana card, remember, the card, the devil, it's because it points toward a major situation or something important that's been going on at the foundation of what's that's happening now. With a major arcana card, just another thing about major and minor arcana cards. Major arcana cards don't offer you a choice. They're more fixed and permanent, whereas minor arcana cards give you the power to change things. You always have a choice on what you do, but there are certain things like external forces and things like that that you sometimes haven't got control over, or sometimes some situations like when somebody passes away, you've got to do the funeral, you've got to go there, or you've got to sort things out or whatever, or anything. If you're in debt, you've got to get yourself out of it or whatever, regardless of what choice you make. But in this, if you're using that as an example, in this particular case, you've got the devil. Within thy right eye create all for thyself. and within the left accept all that created otherwise. And then of course often referred to as the naughty card, as we've said there, and it indicates really that it seems as though just recently the crow is bringing, because it's crow's energy we're using here. It sort of seems as if he's saying as though you were lured into something. Maybe you were pulled, sort of dragged into something that was not in your best of interests. Right at the foundation of this, what's going on now, and this seems to be what's at the root of it, as you could say. The root, that's a good way of viewing it, isn't it? The root. Now let me just pour out something that's no good for me. I normally make a cup of coffee, you know, Gemma, but I thought, well, I thought to myself, you know, it's just quicker go in the fridge, isn't it, really? I don't even go in the fridge for milk, I just use powdered milk now. It's just not bloody worth it, is it? Yes, idleness sets in and shouldn't, and we've got jobs to do as well as this, but for now this is just our time, isn't it? To see what we can get from spirit. So really, to establish the situation just at 2 o'clock in the morning, we can see there, Gemma, that you were lured into something, or something that wasn't of your best of interest. Maybe you were conned out of something, or whatever. Somebody lied to you, or it was just a bit like you were led astray. Some temptation may have led you astray, maybe. As another deck of nice cards that I like using often says. I tend to link that, the Siren card in the Madame Endora's fortune telling cards to the devil, because that's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? Let's just pull out the next card now, which is the recent past. And this obviously focuses on a period of time between now and this time last month. You could say about a moon phase behind, couldn't you? So let's just flip this card again, nice and slow, and then we'll try and link the meaning or the vibration of this card to the devil, to see. This is a bit like the outcome, the recent past. This is like the outcome of that distant past scenario there. And you've got the Two of Wands there. We'll just place that next to it there again, as we can see there. Crowley calls the Two of Wands the Lord of Dominion. It's got an Aries energy to it, hasn't it, as you can see there. Whereas the devil has a Capricorn feel to it, doesn't it? Indicating really maybe that you've been bold, you've been enterprising, you've been, you've been getting, putting yourself out passionately to just recently to deal with a situation that's come from this, whatever you were lured into, whatever it was that wasn't in your best of interests, whatever led you astray. You are being sort of outgoing enough to try and make something of yourself, or make something of yourself given what's happened. I suppose in a way, of course, preparation is the key, isn't it? And of course big changes can come from that. But recently it just indicates, not just the fog in the background, the clouds more than anything. Maybe there was a cloud hanging over you, and of course you had to get through that uncertainty by being assertive, that's the word I'm looking for. I found the word I'm looking for. Being assertive. And that's really what we're looking for, isn't it? The word assertive. And basically, I suppose knowing your boundaries as well, and saying no. I've said yes too many times, actually. Too many times I've said yes, and I said yes once quite a while back, and it got me in trouble. And this is so you're learning to say no, but nevertheless be enterprising and do what you want to do instead of doing what somebody else wanted to do. Maybe somebody said, "Oh, how would you like?" Say for example, not that it is. I'm just saying, say for example, he said, "Oh, how would you like to join my motorbike business? Would you like to, help me lend us some money and I'll pay you back later?" And like a silly bugger, you went and did it. Like somebody I know who did, and they never got paid back, and they were trying to work as a cleaner to sort of try and get this 14 or £16,000 that they'd given away and wouldn't give it back. And this was like a boyfriend, but this is somebody else and nothing to do with us. But it's a similar sort of thing there, Gemma, where you're deciding to go it sort of on your own and say no to others. Now, which isn't a bad thing, isn't it? Is it really, to some degree? I want to now focus on what's going on now. I want to just see what's happening now, how this has affected you. I suppose the now, of course, the present event is the effect of the recent past, and how things all move from one to another as night follows day. But of course, remember that the darkest hour is before the dawn. As we just turn the next card here, we've got more wands, just like you had the Two of Wands. You've got the Queen of Wands. More fire. The Wands is fire, and the Queen is to do with water. So you could really call the Queen of Wands the watery part of fire. Now we don't put that next to those two there. We put that as the first of these three there, because that's the present now, isn't it? This is the present event. Now, that's got like an Aries, sort of Sagittarius, Leo sort of controlling, because it's fire, isn't it? The fire signs and one or whatever. And of course, the Queen in this case is represented in this crow's deck, is represented by the spider. Spider represents creativity, and also maybe having to sort of attention to detail. Notice she spins a web, and she spins a web and waits for somebody to come to be caught in her trap instead of doing all the work. Somebody else she waits for that to come to her. But nevertheless, she represents creativity on the grounds of the web spinning as well. In this particular deck, it focuses on the fact that to theorise on a situation and to work something out, and also to calculate and plan ahead. And that's what you're doing right now, because you've been sort of like assertive and enterprising there, and that's sort of helping you to plan ahead. Nevertheless, being meticulous and patient, of course, does help, doesn't it? In that regard, back to that Madame Mendora's fortune-telling cards again. I can't help it, you know. It's terrible. But it does help, doesn't it, when you got like a mental reference in your head. But I suppose more the mental than the reference in my case. But back to you again, Gemma. Less about me, more about you. Of course, we've got the planning going ahead here, and all this sort of thing going on, haven't we? Got all this sort of detail going on here. and of course, what one are you planning though? I mean, given that you were assertive, okay, we make mistakes. Tell me about it. Okay, Gemma, we all drop clangers, and you can't sort of harp on about it or wallow in it forever and a day, can you? You can't sort of wallow in it forever and a day. It's unpractical, is it really? But now remember the card we were on about in the 10 card. In the 10 card Celtic spread, or the ancient 10 card spread, we place it over across the present as if it's overshadowing, like that. That's when they do it across, like that, the card that goes across on the second card on the 10 card, isn't it? That card that goes across represents the situation that's overshadowing what's going on right now at the present obstacle. And what we're going to do, we're going to flip that card, well in this case we just place it next to it, don't we, because we're doing that, and we just flip the card nice and slow there, and notice you've got the 6 of cups. Now of course the number 6 is to do with analysis, isn't it? Oi! Oh God! Hold on. Sorry about that. Somebody who shall remain nameless jumped on top of the keyboard. Didn't you, Stephen? Yes, you did. Oh, Stephen! Sorry about that. That was supposed to be a background, a sort of just a background ambience, but it became just became a bit of something that shouldn't have been. So what we'll now do is, I suppose. Yeah. Let's put it back again. Right, sorry about that. Come on, Stephen, what are you doing? So I think what we'll do, we'll pop Stephen back now. Yes, Stephen, we'll pop you back now, and then we can carry on with Gemma's reading, can't we? Just to remember now, we got here the present obstacle is the 6 of cups. Now the 6 of cups, cups is to do with the element of water, isn't it? Come on, Steve. There you go, baby. The element of water, and the 6 is to do with analysis. 5 is loss. You've got like the squaring out of the 4. And then the loss of the 5, the analysis of the 6, and then the weakness of the 7, the challenge of the 8, and then the peak of magic at 9. So you're in on the 6 here. It's the 6 of cups. Cups has to do with the element of water. That's it. Stephen's having a drink of water now. So just mentioning that, I think that's something anyway. It's done some good anyway. We've been out, haven't we, for a bit of a walkies until we smash everything up for Dad. So this tends to focus on the past because it's analysing the feelings, because cups is to do with water and feelings and emotion, isn't it? And it's analysing feelings. Do you see what I mean? The 6 of cups, analysis of feelings, or because it's any number between 4 and 9 is to do with water, so it's the watery part of water, mental and moral qualities. Whereas, of course, as you can see, the Queen, she is the watery part of fire. The two of wands there is the airy part of fire, creative and transmissive powers of mental and moral of spiritual essence, creative and transmissive powers of spiritual essence. So that's probably the creative side of you, the bold, the enterprising side of you, just recently leading to the planning, and of course the emotional, maybe an emotional attachment to spiritual essence as well, through the Queen, and planning and being meticulous, being patient as well. And then this has led the obstacle. Now remember, this is an obstacle, this one here now we're doing here, the 6 of Cups, that would normally, as we said, in a 10 card be the second card dealt, which would be the present obstacle. It's the present obstacle in this case, but it's done in the 7 card here. It's still the second card out, the present, because with the 10 card, as you know, it's the present and then the second and then whatever. But in this case it goes the other way around, a bit more distant. Anyway, back to this again, and notice how we're on about it, an analysis of feelings. This tends to focus on the past, as if an obstacle, the obstacle at present for you is literally that you're too focused on the past. Look, notice how the bird spirit there is looking back. Notice how the bird spirits, what am I on about there? Well, the birds, the bird people as you could call them, they are thought to carry the messages from the heavens to the earth, and they are thought to be the guides. So it's like as if there's guidance from the past. But nevertheless, the problem that you've got right now is to reminisce about the past. Reminisce about maybe this time here when you were lured into a situation that wasn't of your best of interests, and maybe that could be the wallowing element of it. Wallowing in not so much self-pity, but certainly too much focus on the past is your problem. You could say the present obstacle, you could call it the present problem, couldn't you? Or the present issue, if you want to add a sort of negative sort of attachment to it, which it is in that regard, isn't it? And even if the card is a positive, this can be a positive energy according to where it turns up in the spread, but in the position of the present obstacle, it's always a negative sort of overtone. There's something that's overshadowing it, and the thing that's overshadowing, although you're planning for the future and you're trying to be creative, and although you're theorising and working out some sort of calculation upon what to do next, the thing that overshadows it all the time is you seem to be, all the time, that's generalising, but most of the time is you seem to be focusing on the past, in the sense of you're defining yourself by the past. You should be defining yourself by the now, not the past. And this is the problem, isn't it? Yes, in the past you were capable just recently, or not capable I suppose, but you were prepared to move on, you were prepared to be assertive and say, no, I will do anything but not that, so to speak. And you were prepared to do that. But nevertheless, it's always there, isn't it? And maybe that's what this spirit here is saying. It's always there. You can't hide from it. But nevertheless, you can't define yourself by it, can you? What is the present outcome because of this? Will your plans be dashed or be hindered in some way because of too much focus on the past, as if your plans end up being influenced by the past, and so in a way you're sort of planning for something in the past instead of, or planning by something in the past instead of for what, either planning for something in the past or planning based upon something that happened in the past and not able to let it go. What's happening right now, of course, the outcome of now. That's not bad, but it's understandable, but it isn't positive. But nevertheless, notice it's the 7 of Wands, more Wands again. We were Wands just recently, Wands right now, with the emotional feeling of Cups there. The obstacle there, maybe your feelings getting in the way, of course. Analysing your feelings, of course, is another way of reminiscing, looking back at the past. Your feelings are usually affected by what's happened as opposed to what is about to happen, because it hasn't happened yet. So, of course, the 7, notice we said the 7, about the 6 being analysis, the 7 is weakness. In this case, the weakness of energy. Fire is to do with energy as well, isn't it? Because it's only number between 4 and 9, the numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, then of course it's the watery part of fire, a bit like a queen. It's sort of queenish sort of energy. It's a queenish sort of energy to it, doesn't it? A queenish of wandish sort of energy to it. But the 7 is weakness, weakness of energy. This tends to focus on Sagittarian sort of feel. Notice you got the raccoon there, which obviously helps, gives you the resources to see things through. And of course, it's more to do with more. In this case, it's more to do with just perseverance, really, in the sense of just if at first you do not succeed, just try again until you drop another clanger. Well, that's me. I'm not about me though. It's more about you, isn't it? But laughing and joking apart, if at first you don't succeed, try again. In the sense of course, it's just been more a case of endurance, or it will be right now. Because remember, this is the present outcome. So I suppose the outcome of the present right now, the overall evaluation report, you could say, sort of looking into the sort of future, but doing it just at the present. The sort of outcome of the present will be more a case of to do with endurance and just perseverance. And that's probably what the planning is all about, if you see the link there, you see. But nevertheless, the obstacle of of looking back in the past and living in the past is always the problem, and maybe that's the reason why you will simply have to persevere, simply endure, simply be given the resources just to see it through for now. And there will be no at present. There will be no major development. To be assertive and enterprising, to be bold, just recently got you out of the shit that wasn't in your best of interests. Let's see what's going on, or what is about to go on in the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. It is the sort of distance and time ahead as when you were sort of saying no, being bold and being assertive. This is about between that moon phase, isn't it? About the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. This is ahead between now and, you could say, the end of next month, the end of April, couldn't you? Really, bloody hell, it's April the 1st tomorrow, isn't it? It's the 31st today, and it's a blue moon today, isn't it? Again. And the next one is in 2020, I think. Here, notice you've got the Knight of Coins. That's got a Taurus, sort of Virgo-ish, sort of Capricorn-ish sort of energy to it as well, hasn't it? In this particular case, it sort of links to the Seven of Wands, doesn't it? In the sense of providing an anchor, providing an essence, a bit of support, maybe. Notice the owl there representing your answer. Is it the owl? No, it isn't. It's a bloody hawk, actually. I don't know if it's an owl or a hawk. I can't. Of course, whether it's to do with whether it's to do with being an anchor and essence and holding you, keeping you focused. I would assume it's a hawk, helping you focused. In the sense of you'll be focusing on your priorities, trying to put aside all distractions, and that'll keep you grounded. That's the word, isn't it? Maybe this means there's somebody in the immediate future or something that will provide an anchor to keep you grounded, to stop you drifting off like you did in the distant past. Maybe somebody doesn't forget and somebody wants you. Maybe the same one who is helping you to endure, providing you with the resources just to see it through to now. Maybe it could be a relative, a mother, father figure or something like that, auntie or something, providing you with some sort of support for now, if you get what I mean. A sort of interim sort of support, not so much a loan. I don't think you'll be expected to pay back. Maybe it could be just a bed for the night or anything like that, couldn't it? But of course somebody to listen to as well, isn't it? Somebody to listen to you, and that's also helps, but helping you to nevertheless be focused and focus on your priorities. This has been the problem, hasn't it? Because of other than being lured in the distant past, just reminding you of that again, I suppose the last thing you want to be reminded of it, but other than that, being sort of reminded of that being sort of lured back, not the best of your interests. Nevertheless, because you're capable of saying no, you're capable of being assertive. Just recently, you've proved that to whoever it is. Maybe they have sort of said, okay, well, just given just recently what's happening, we can see you planning for the future. Yes, okay, you've got a problem of focusing on the past. The past is a problem in the sense that it's affecting your feelings. You're analysing, what did I do wrong, maybe, and this is why you're just really more to do with it's more to do with just enduring what's the present outcome is just a between now and I suppose sort of the beginning of April-ish, sort of the outcome, the evaluation report then of the present is it's all been really more to do with endurance. If looking back at the past is the problem, to endure, of course, to plan and to be meticulous, to be patient, and to calculate some way forward, to spin a web to try and catch whatever it is you're trying to catch, from a metaphorical point of view, as being a means to just survive. Survival. You could call it, couldn't you? Well, let's see though how everything's going to end up. Do you get your priorities right? Is there light at the end of the tunnel here for the not so much the distant future, but the sort of overall outcome of the recent, around about the next 3 or 4 months or so, as you could say. The owl spirit there, a major arcana card, the Emperor, one being master of one's own destiny. This sort of links into the Two of Wands, the Lord of Dominion, doesn't it? You could sort of place those together, or one on top of another. There's sort of that energy there, in the sense of you will become the overlord, Aries. You will gain control again, And of course the owl represents your ancestral spirit guides, and it's a case of, remember, the bird people provide guidance. The hawk helps you to guide you through focus, helping you to remain focused in your priorities, putting aside all distractions and just doing what you can do there. The Emperor is a major arcana card. Now, although here with the Seven of Wands, and then of course the Six of Cups there, and the Queen of Wands and so on, from just the recent past up to the now, you have had power to change it. You can change things. You've got power to change it even now. Even in the immediate future, between now and sort of the end of April, you've got power to change it as you're grounded. But of course the outcome shows that you haven't got power over the outcome, in the sense of, now of course remember, it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative. In this case the Emperor is a positive card, isn't it? Showing that although it's more of a permanent fixture, the outcome is a permanent fixture for you. Nevertheless, that permanent fixture is brought to you by your ancestral spirit guides, saying, look out for the signs, pay attention to the omens and what's going on around you, and that will be us speaking to you and helping you. You will become the overlord. You will gain supremacy. You will gain control again. The plans that you are making now will be fulfilled. You are surviving for now. You're enduring for now. Yes, you've got a problem with focusing on the past now, but as you become more grounded, you will become the overlord, and you will become master of your own destiny. But let's hope that for now, that is the positive thing of the most significant thing in your life right now. And for now, Gemma, we know that the truth has now spoken. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light. And we just place your cards underneath, and we will now shuffle. I clear these cards. I clear these cards. I clear these cards in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love, and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls from darkness into light.